Going to study the next part of the chapter, Nagaland. The Naga tribe in northeast India is known as a martial tribe. Children, this martial tribe is the people who use martial arts. What is this martial art? Martial art means judo, karate, taekwondo, wrestling. These are a type of fighting or war between persons. So this martial art is used by many of them now and is learned by many of them. So the Naga tribe, they were firm in this martial art. The Naga tribe had settled in eastern Himalayas, the Naga hills, the border areas of Assam and Myanmar. In 1946, some educated Naga youth established an organization called Naga National Council. Later, they made a demand for an independent state of Nagaland. They were led by Angami Zapu Fizo. Now, these people, some of the youth or some of the young generation, they were educated and they started to demand an independent state of Nagaland, and which was led by Angami. He was the leader, Angami Zapu Fizo. He was the leader of this group, NNC. And in 1954, the Naga National Council announced the establishment of an independent federation of Nagaland. In 1955, skirmishes happened between local Nagas and the soldiers of Assam Rifles. Skirmishes means there were irregular fightings between these local Nagas or local people of Nagaland and the soldiers of Assam Rifles. Then military action was taken to suppress the skirmishes or to stop these fightings. Several rounds of discussion took place between the central government and the Naga National Council. Central government decided to give the Naga majority territory the status of a union territory. So in between the Naga National Council led by Angami Zapu Fizo and the central government, a lot of discussions went on with some demands which were fulfilled by the government, which were not able to be fulfilled. So on this, many discussions went on, and at last the Nagaland was given the status of a union territory. After that, Nagaland was made a full-fledged state on 1st December 1963 by putting together the Naga majority territory and part of Unsang. Now Assam. In 1983, there was an intense agitation staged by all Assam Students' Union and Assam Gan Sangram Parishad over the question of the dominance in Assam of Bengali migrants. Now, some Bengali migrants from the Bangladesh, they were staying in Bangladesh, who were not the permanent citizens of this place, but they were trying to dominate this Assam. So in 1983, the all the Assam Students' Union and Assam Gan Sangram Parishad, they started to question about these people or the Bengali migrants from Bangladesh in Assam. Now in 1985, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, Central Home Minister Shankar Rao Chauhan and Assamese leader Prafulla Kumar Mohanty signed an accord. They signed, or accord means a power was given or power was granted to the Assamese. It was decided to send the Bangladeshi citizens who had infiltrated in Assam back to their original places. Means those Bengalis who had come in Assam and were staying in Assam, who had gained access in Assam but who were not the main citizens of Assam, were decided to send back to their own native places. Now in 1986, elections were held for Assam Legislative Assembly and Prafulla Kumar Mohanty of the Assam Gun Parishad became the new chief minister. Due to this democratic process, it became possible to establish peace in Assam. Because of this election, after this election, it became possible to, and because of this, people were sent back to their Bangladeshis or Bengalis were sent back to their own places. There was peace in Assam now. Now we'll study about Arunachal Pradesh. In 1954, NEFA, that is Northeast Frontier Agency, was created as it was created before, and in 1972 it began to be called Arunachal Pradesh. Region of the rising sun. As we know, this place, first of all, sun rises in Arunachal Pradesh. On 20th February 1987, it got the status of constituent state. It became a full-fledged state on 20th February 1987. During the period from 1960 to 2000, Northeast India had progressed towards a more matured democracy. This area is on the path of progress through industrialization, spread of education, and in many things. Now we'll study about the Naxalism or Naxalite movement. Now this Naxalite movement was started in Naxalbari in Darjeeling district in West Bengal. Now what are Naxalites? The people who are rebel or who are the rebellions, who are not ready to listen to the government, or they always oppose to the government policies. Now these Naxalites organized the small land holding farmers and land laborers. These small land farmers and the laborers who are working and took charge of their land, and they took the charge of their lands and put up red flags and declared that area as free territory in 1967. All those movements that took inspiration from this rebellion are called Naxalite movements. The movement had the objectives of establishing action committees to raise a voice against the exploitation of the farmers by the landlords and confiscate the land of the landlords and distribute among the tenants. Now what is, first of all, these Naxalite movements were started to establish a committee of members who used to raise a voice against the exploitation of the farmers by the big landlords, who used to give loans to these small farmers and used to trouble them, keep their lands with them and used to exploit them. So this movement was started for the help of these farmers, and again they used to confiscate, means they used to take the property of the farmers and distribute among these farmers again. So later the movement strayed away from its objective. Strayed away means it was far away, means whatever objective they were thought or whatever objects they had kept for this movement, they were all in vain. They were not kept in mind, and this movement went in a different direction. It took recourse to terrorism and to prevent any government schemes and welfare policies from reaching the common people. So these Naxalite movements, they used to oppose the government policies and schemes and welfare policies which were given by the government to the people, and they did not allow these policies to reach the common people. The Naxalites started a parallel system by rejecting the democratic system. Means they were not ready to be under the government, and they were saying that their place is a free territory. The Naxalites, this made Naxalism a serious problem or challenge to India's internal security. So this was a challenge, or this was a trouble for India's internal security. The movement was mainly located in West Bengal. as this Naxalite movement was started in Naxalbari, which is in the West Bengal. After that, this movement spread to East Godavari in Andhra Pradesh, parts of Visakhapatnam, Karimnagar in Telangana, Adilabad, Bastar, Rajnandan, Gaon and Sukma in Chhattisgarh, Gadchiroli, Bandara and parts of Chandrapur in Maharashtra, Balaghat and Mandala in Madhya Pradesh and Koraput in Odisha. In order to maintain their influence, the Naxalites established an organization called People's Liberation Guerrilla Army. The name of their organization of Naxalites is People's Liberation Guerrilla Army. This conflict is still going on and we can observe that or we can see that. Now children will study about communalism. Now what is a communalism? Communalism is a serious threat to the unity of our country. Communalism is a love for own community or own religion. Communalism emerges out of narrow religious pride. The British sowed the seeds of communalism in our country. Now people of different religions, different cultures used to live happily in our country since many centuries. There's nothing wrong in people of different religions living together in a country while being duly proud of their own religion. Every person has his own love or own respect or pride of his own religion, and it is not a bad thing or it is not a wrong thing. But when this pride becomes excessive, then it turns into bigotry. Means when we have a pride about our religion, it is good. But if we think that our religion is more superior and the other person's religion is inferior, this leads to religious fanaticism. Fanaticism means extreme devotion. Then we don't think about anything, we only think about our own religion. Fanaticism is the base of communalism. It makes one oblivious of national interest. Means we forget, or it makes one person oblivious, means it makes forgetfulness of national interest. We only think of our own religion. We are not thinking about the nation. So people of different religion don't trust each other in this fanaticism. They become suspicious of each other. Compatriots following different religions are looked at as enemies. Means the people or the countrymen who are following different religions are looked as enemies of our own religions. Even commensality or coming together on festivals. Commensality means having or eating together by two or more members, eating together on festivals or coming together on festivals become less or becomes rare due to fanaticism. As a result, it becomes difficult for everybody to come together and get organized for their demands and rights as citizenship. If we act as a citizen, we'll ask for the citizens' rights. But if we are going through our religions, we'll ask only for the rights of our own religions. Fanaticism makes the perspective of looking at events and people prejudice. Means because of fanaticism, we look to the events or whatever happened or to the people of different religion also without any opinion, any reason we find out or any fault we find out. If any action or anything has happened, we'll say it has been done deliberately to trouble our religion. So some people begin to think of economic and social questions also in the framework of their own religion. As I said, we'll not see according to the citizenship, but we'll frame our own social or economic questions keeping in mind only about our religion or our religion people. Some people of all religions think that since they belong to a particular religion, they have no influence in politics. Now some people they think that we we are not taken in the politics, and they begin to believe that they are being treated unjustly, means they are not given justice by the government. They hold the idea that government is partial against their religion. In such a condition, they become too sensitive about their religion and their co-regionalist. Religionalist means the person or the people of the same religion are said as co-religionalists. So in this condition, they think that they become too sensitive about their own religion and about their people. If anybody speaks about the people of their religion or insults the religious symbols knowingly or unknowingly, riots break out. Riots means fightings break out. And because of this kind of thinking, hundreds of innocent people are killed. Public property worth of rupees crores is destroyed or damaged. Public peace is destroyed. Due to the bitter memories of the riots, people are estranged from each other. Estranged means they are unfriendly. They become strangers to each other, and mutual trust receives a setback. Means there will be no mutual trust in between these people. Trust between people is the basis of coexistence. If trust breaks, social unity receives a blow. How can national unity be achieved without social unity? If the people are together, then only if the people in the society live together, then only we can achieve national unity. Hence, it is necessary that we should all counter this religious communalism with all our strength. For this, we should mix with people of different religion. We should accept their good practices and ideas of each other. We should be able to look at and understand our economic and social problems rationally. Rationally means thinking it with reason or logically and sort out that problem. We should not mix these questions with religions. So we should search for the economic, political, or historical reasons that are responsible for disturbing religious harmony. This is the only way to put an end to communalism and strengthen national economy. So we should be able to use or accept the good practices and ideas of each other. We should be able to understand or look at and understand the economic and social problems rationally. Altogether, we should not mix this question with religions. We should search for the economic, political, or historical reasons that are responsible for this religious harmony. In this way, we can put an end to communalism and strengthen national unity. So the other part, that is the last part, regionalism, will learn in the next session.